Hello, everyone, and I hope everybody's having a great Thursday out there. Welcome to my weather forecast today. Weather on the go, all your weather coverage here today. Today's day one outlook from the Storm Prediction Center here has a marginal risk for severe weather here across eastern Virginia into northeastern and eastern North Carolina and down into eastern central Florida as we head into today, with a slight risk here of a couple of tornadoes again today, a slight risk of some smaller to medium-sized hail, and wind gusts that could be up to 60 miles per hour here with a storm or two across those areas. As we head here into our reflectivity on the NAM model, you can see around midday some thunderstorm activity here across the Carolinas, down into northern and central Florida. These will continue pushing off here the coast. And then here the back edge of this storm system showing some snow showers up here into eastern Iowa, southwest Wisconsin, getting into northeastern Missouri here with some colder air aloft. Probably some more like grapple type of precipitation here up in this area with kind of a mix of rain and snow here with a lot of cold air aloft with this really cold core low kind of centered here off into Canada, into Ontario. So we'll here be watching that. A little bit more snow shower activity here up into portions here of Maine. And other than that, here northern Michigan and the UP of Michigan, some snow and rain showers. Like I said, probably more of grapple more than anything else. And then a little disturbance pushing down here from Canada, mainly staying up here into Canada, maybe here with a few snow showers across northwestern portions of Montana. Rainfall here, precipitation output here, 72 hours. You can see here, this is what we've had the past 72 hours, and this is what we're going to have all the way through Sunday. And a good dousing of rainfall here in some much needed areas across Michigan, down through Illinois here, around a quarter to half an inch of rain. Much of the Northeast here seeing around a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain, with localized spots here into Maine and portions here near Boston getting down to around an inch of rain. And then along the Carolinas down through central Florida here, some areas that could see up to around an inch of rain additional here potentially, with a few thunderstorms, with localized higher amounts of thunderstorms as we head through today, and then they'll be walking themselves off the coast as we head into tonight. These are the high temperatures expected here as we head into this afternoon. Temperatures with the colder air here into the Midwest, here in the lower 40s. Wouldn't be surprised if some upper 30s here for highs, as we have like the low cloud cover, some rain and snow showers here, some grapple, those type of that type of air mass here for those temperatures being supported across the Midwest. Some warmer temperatures here in the Dakotas and even into here, the Nebraska area, western Kansas, eastern Colorado here. Temperatures in the low to mid 60s here, so some nice warm spring temperatures. Very warm down here into Texas, getting into Oklahoma, into portions here of New Mexico, areas in the low to mid 70s, near 80 down in South Texas. Some 90s being felt here in the desert Southwest with the ongoing drought conditions down there. Some 80s and 70s and 80s, and across the California region into Nevada, and then some 70s and 80s, maybe even middle 80s across south central Florida if you can stay away from some thunderstorm activity, and then up the East Coast here. From southern portions of Pennsylvania down through the Carolinas and to Georgia, temperatures averaging around the middle to upper 60s with maybe a couple 70-degree readings as well. And like I said, the Northeast here with the colder core low up here, temperatures kind of around Maine, getting down towards Boston here into the middle to upper 30s, some lower 40s here as well. As we head into tonight, you can see temperatures will be dropping down into the 20s here across the northern plains, the upper 20s, lower 30s, middle 30s here for places like Chicago, down into portions here of central Illinois, getting back towards the central plains. Middle to low 40s here as far south as Nashville, Tennessee, getting over toward Little Rock, getting down towards the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and then here lower 50s across here the East Coast and down into Florida here around Jacksonville, getting up towards the Outer Banks here of North Carolina. And then here lower 60s and middle 60s here down toward Miami, getting up toward Tampa and portions there of maybe Daytona Beach for lows tonight. And here as we head into the Northeast, up toward Caribou, some upper 20s and maybe middle 40s for lows here around the Boston area. And here as we head down towards Philadelphia and portions of Baltimore areas, lows tonight will be in the middle 40s as well. As we head into tomorrow, the maximum temperature here for tomorrow, lower 40s here across northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, some low to mid 50s across much of the northern and central plains, low to mid 80s across much of the state of Texas here, and some 70s with a little bit of cool down with that cold front here into Florida. On up the east coast here, a little bit cooler than yesterday. Than today's expected highs, rather, into the middle 60s, and then some cooler air being found up north here, but a little bit of a warm up compared here to today. Now moving along here, this is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. Rather, this is the Climate Prediction Center 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, showing below to well below average temperatures across much of the Great Lakes region into the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, Ohio Valley areas. Here, seeing below to much below normal temperatures, with the coldest temperatures centered around Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, and into the state of Michigan here as well. And then slightly above normal to near normal temperatures across much of the west, the southwest, and across here, the deep south into the southeast around Florida, maybe slightly above average temperatures there as well, with some 80s, maybe close to 90 here across portions of Texas and far southern Florida here in this type of pattern. Climate Prediction Center 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook shows above to much above average precipitation across the Ohio Valley into the Mid-Atlantic, down into the Tennessee Valley, and across some of the southeast. Slightly above average here precipitation around the Rockies here into the northern and central plains, getting into the southern plains. Kind of drier than normal to near normal precipitation here around portions here of the west, and getting down into South Texas here as well. Now looking ahead, the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, this goes all the way through April 6th, and much of the country here going to be dealing with below to much below average temperatures as we head into the first week of April. So if you're ready for spring across much of the country here, you might be a little delayed in some areas unless you go down to the Florida Panhandle or South Texas or into the deep south, into the Gulf Coast regions here, with near normal to above to even much above normal here across south central Florida for temperatures. Maybe a good vacation spot here as we head into the first week or so of April, as much of the country, probably 80% of the country, will be at least below to much below average in temperatures here heading into the first week of April. So as we head here into the drier months here, this is kind of concerning as we head into late spring, summer, but this is the U.S.'s Drought Mitigation Center's drought monitor, and you can see the Drought Mitigation Center's drought monitor is showing a little bit of improvement here across some of Missouri into portions here of northern Illinois. They did have some rainfall in these areas, the much needed rain at that. Drought is worsening and expanding across the south central plains into the west here. Not much of a drought in the Ohio and Tennessee valleys because of all the thunderstorm activity here in the last couple of months. So a lot of above average soil here, moisture across this area, and some air pockets of drought here into the northeast, getting down here into the east coast and the southeast, but not as intense here as the western 2/3 of the country here as well. I do expect the drought to kind of ease in portions here of the Great Lakes into the Midwestern regions, and maybe into some portions here of the East Coast as we head through time into the first couple of weeks of April. But I do expect the drought, unfortunately, to worsen across the west, the southwest, and into portions here of Texas and New Mexico and surrounding areas here as we head into at least the next couple of weeks or month or so here, to be quite frank. So unfortunately, the most precipitation here is being favored across the Ohio, Tennessee valleys, some of the upper Midwest, and the southeast, where some of these areas do not need any more rainfall here. But like I said, unfortunately, areas across the west will not be here seeing much in the way of rainfall within the next couple of weeks. This is the observed 24-hour rainfall here that we've had. Some much-needed rain, like I said, across much of Iowa, getting into northern Missouri, portions of central and southern Wisconsin here, seeing as much as 1.5 inches to 2 inches of rain here within the last 24 hours. Even portions of southeastern Minnesota. A lot of rainfall here with all those thunderstorms and severe weather down here into the Tennessee Valley, down into the Gulf Coast states here, with a lot more rain than they need. But much of those areas seen 2 to 4, perhaps even 5 or 6 inches of rain within the last, 24 hours to 48 hours. So much needed rain for the northern half of here, and much less needed rain across the southern half here of the country. And it looks to continue here with the same type of pattern here setting up into early April here as well. This is the mid-level vorticity map, and this is showing our next storm system here that is likely to come out of the west coast and into the desert southwest, and then kind of move along and up into the central plains, into the upper Midwest as we head into middle and end of next week. This is showing a huge trough digging into the desert southwest as we head into Monday afternoon next week, and this is going to provide here an area of rotation for some low pressure system to start to form here across the desert southwestern areas, with a ridge kind of here moving into the much of the eastern 2/3 of the country here. This is a significant trough here as we head into the desert southwest, and this will only continue to amplify as we head here into early Tuesday morning. And then as we head into Tuesday around midday, this will be pushing into California, portions of Nevada, getting into here Arizona, Utah, getting into New Mexico. A very strong push here of cooler air aloft, and this is going to provide another significant storm system potential here as we head into the middle of next week. And then this kind of moves into the southern and central plains as we head into early Wednesday, with a low pressure forming, I think, on the lee side of the Rockies here as we head into the middle of next week. What this looks like here on the precipitation output, you can see this is the GFS's here run, the midday run here of the GFS, a 990 millibar low here up into the top of that trough, and this is Monday afternoon. And as this here trough kind of pushes down into the desert southwest, some rainfall here into the upper, especially into the upper elevations, some snowfall here as well. At least we're getting some precipitation in some areas that potentially need it, but not enough here, as I was stating before. And then a 992 millibar low here, or somewhere around in that type of intensity, is expected across the lee side of the Rockies into eastern Colorado, western portions here of Kansas. And then this will start to get its act together, 993 millibar low as we head toward early Wednesday morning next week. And this is concerning. It's showing another threat of severe weather potential here from Kansas down through Oklahoma Panhandle, Texas Panhandle, into central Texas once again. A few of these areas are the same areas that had the severe weather just a couple of days ago, and also a lot of tornadoes a couple of days ago. And it looks like you may be under the gun yet again middle of next week for some more severe weather. Now, this is still early in the stages here. Refining will be here key to where the track of this low pressure system will go, and that will ultimately dictate where the severe weather potential will be. But if this is the GFS's run is right, a 990 millibar low will be centered around northern portions of Oklahoma, southern Kansas, with an arcing kind of band, arcing line or broken line here of some multi-cells, potentially some supercells once again, and some line segments producing some damaging wind gusts, potentially a few tornadoes once again, some very large hail. And that here is going to be key as we head into the middle of next week. We'll see what happens there. And then this low really starts to get kind of tightly wrapped or tightly wound as we see some general, stratiform rainfall here up into Iowa, down into eastern portions here of Nebraska, some upper elevation snowfall potential, or even just some snowfall here into portions here of western Kansas, the very far panhandle of Texas. So this shows just how cold air aloft of how this trough will be, and a lot of cold air aloft will feed for potentially a squall line of some thunderstorm, maybe even a bow echo type of embedded in with this here as we head into Arkansas, maybe southeastern Missouri, getting down here into portions of Louisiana. I think a higher tornado probabilities for portions of southern Arkansas into Louisiana, eastern Texas here as we head into the middle of next week. Yet again, this will be refined here in coming days, so I do expect this to change here at least some as we head here a little bit closer into early next week. And then this will continue to move up into the north here as we head into our early Thursday morning next week, with a kind of a broken line or a squall line here with some embedded supercell potential from the Ohio Valley down through the Tennessee Valley, And once again, the Gulf Coast states into the deep south here, the Dixie Alley region, could be dealing with more tornadic thunderstorms. So we'll definitely have to watch this. The mode of severe weather is not clear at this time here. It could be more of a squall line, could be more of supercellular activity, but it looks at this model here as showing supercell activity in the early stages of the storm system into the central and southern plains, and then more of a squall line or bow echo type of event across portions here of the Tennessee, Ohio Valley down through the deep south Dixie Alley here into the southeast as we head into the middle and late portions here of next week. And this will just all continue here as we head toward midday next Thursday into the southeast. So those areas will be on guard. So be on guard if you are in the central southern plains here across the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, the Dixie Alley region into the southeast as we head into tomorrow or into the coming days. To get prepared for a potential another multi-day severe weather outbreak potentially as we head into the middle of next week. Now looking at the dew point here temperatures, this is interesting to see here because this is going to show how much fuel these storms could have to work with as we head into the next week. Dew points will be averaging around the low to mid 50s as here into the central southern plains, into the Dixie Alley region, the Arklatex here as we head. This is early Tuesday morning. And dew points will only rise here into the low to even middle 60s into southern and southeastern Texas, east central Texas, much of the state of Louisiana, southeastern Arkansas, western Mississippi, with just general middle to upper 50 dew points here as far north here as southern Iowa, portions of eastern Kansas here into much of Missouri. This is around midday on Tuesday next week. And then the dew points will really surge here. The Gulf of Mexico will be opened up for business here and have dew points rising into the lower 60s as far north as Missouri, west central Illinois, southern Illinois, mid 60 dew points here into portions here of Oklahoma, getting down into east central Texas, much of the state here of Arkansas, and getting into western Louisiana. This is Tuesday afternoon. And then with a cold front or dry line expected to develop here across the central and southern plains, this will be a focal point for thunderstorm activity and potential severe weather into next week here, like I was saying. This is Wednesday afternoon. Dew points could surge as high as 60 degrees, potentially up here into the Quad Cities here into Iowa, potentially as far north here as northern Illinois, southeastern Iowa, portions here of Missouri, middle 60 and upper 60 dew points, even probably even a couple 70-degree dew points here being found into Louisiana, portions here of southern Mississippi, far southeastern and eastern here portions of Texas as we head into the middle of next week. Now this is the bulk shear output, and this is the shear needed for severe weather. Now early on here, the shear will be a little lower across the central plains and the southern plains, with the shear kind of rounding the base of this trough. But as we head here into midday on Wednesday, the shear will really catch up with this trough and produce here, the dynamics needed for severe weather here, with the dew points rising, the instability will be rising because of those dew points and higher temperatures, and here with the shear overlapping those areas, I do expect some severe weather potential from Kansas down through Oklahoma, potentially here into eastern and central portions here of Texas once again. And then this will continue to just push eastward as we head into our Wednesday afternoon with a lot of bulk shear, a lot of wind shear here across the central and southern plains, getting into the Arklatex region once again, overlapping the higher dew points, the higher instability, and here this will be creating another, like I said, chance of severe weather. The shear will really be impressive, I think. The kinematics with this storm system will be pretty impressive as it looks. At least the last couple of runs here of the GFS is showing here some pretty impressive kinematics with this storm. Kind of uncertain here on the thermodynamics here profiles with the storm, but I do think here regarding here the wind profiles with the storm is looking pretty impressive here already. So we'll have to be monitoring this here as we head into the next few days to see if this continues to be the case. And then this will continue to show here some wind shear as we head into the Midwestern regions, down in the Arklatex here into the deep south as we head here into Thursday morning, and that will continue to feed the potential for some severe weather as we head into late next week here as well. And this will only continue to march eastward into the Tennessee, Ohio valleys, down into the Dixie Alley, into the southeast as we head into Thursday, potentially even extending into Friday before the storm system pushes off to the east. Now looking at the supercell composite, I know this is early, but it is showing at least some lower values from supercells to even close to medium values here across portions of north central Texas, getting into southern Oklahoma, maybe even some values getting up here into portions of eastern Kansas, maybe even southwestern Iowa. So this could be more of a widespread, broad area of severe weather potential here as we head to next week, compared to the other storm system that kind of was focused along Texas into Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and the deep south. This may be more of a broad central southern plains, Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, southeastern here type of severe weather setup as we head into next week. And the surface-based instability, the CAPE or convective available potential energy here for the storms to work with, is going to be pretty decent. I mean, this far out, quite a few days out now here, around a week out, and we're seeing here values already pushing, 1,000 to 1,500 joules per kilogram here as far north here as western Tennessee, eastern portions here of Arkansas, much of the state here of Mississippi, Louisiana, maybe even some areas closing in on 2,000 joules per kilogram here in southern and central Louisiana here, even on this run. So the ingredients are there. It's still a little murky on the details and the track of the low pressure, which will have to do with how much, which will be due to how this trough interacts with the desert southwest and moves here inland. So we'll have to watch that here in the coming days. But do be sure to like my video here and remember to subscribe to my channel, as I will have more content all week long here regarding the potential for severe weather next week, as yet again another potential severe weather outbreak may be unfolding here as we head into next week. So I'll be sure here to give you more updated content throughout the week. So do remember to subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions here regarding any of my content here, I will be available to answer those questions all day long and all week. So do not be hesitant here to ask, because I will be here all week to answer those questions. So thank you very much.